Imagine standing on the surface of the earth and deciding to dig straight down. Not a few meters, not a few hundred meters, not even a few kilometers, as deep as human technology will allow. How far do you think we could get? To the center of the earth? Halfway? Maybe just a fraction of that distance. The answer is far smaller than most people expect. In fact, despite all of our technology, rockets, satellites, and advanced machinery, humans have barely scratched the surface of our planet. And the deepest hole we've ever dug reveals just how little we truly know about what's beneath our feet. This is the story of the Kola Superdeep Borehole, the deepest hole humans have ever dug. Our story begins during the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were competing in almost every area imaginable: space exploration, military technology, and scientific research. Both nations wanted to prove that they could achieve what nobody else could. While the Americans focused heavily on reaching the moon, Soviet scientists turned their attention in a different direction. Instead of looking up, they decided to look down. Way down. Their goal was simple: drill deeper into the Earth's crust than anyone had ever managed before. Not for oil, not for gas, not even for minerals, purely for science. They wanted to understand what lay beneath the surface of our planet. In 1970, work began on a remote site in northwestern Russia near the border with Norway. The location was chosen because the Earth's crust there was relatively stable and very old. Scientists believed it would provide a valuable window into the geology of our planet. The project became known as the Kola Superdeep Borehole. At first, progress was slow. Drilling through solid rock is incredibly difficult. The deeper you go, the more challenging it becomes. Temperatures rise, pressure increases, equipment wears out, and every meter becomes harder than the last. But year after year, the drill continued descending, deeper and deeper into the earth. By 1979, the borehole had broken the world record for the deepest artificial point ever created by humans. But the team wasn't finished. Their ultimate target was around 15 kilometers deep. That may not sound like much compared to the Earth's diameter of over 12,000 kilometers. But in terms of drilling, it was an enormous challenge. Imagine trying to lower a drill through miles of solid rock while keeping it perfectly aligned. Even small mistakes could damage equipment or cause the hole to collapse. The deeper they went, the more problems they encountered, yet the project continued. Finally, in 1989, the borehole reached its maximum depth, 12,262 meters. That's just over 12 kilometers, or roughly 7.6 miles. To put that into perspective, if Mount Everest were placed upside down into the hole, its summit still wouldn't reach the bottom. It remains the deepest hole ever drilled by humans. More than 3 decades later, nobody has surpassed it. But here's the surprising part. Even at over 12 kilometers deep, the hole only penetrated a tiny fraction of the Earth's crust. The crust beneath continents averages around 35 kilometers thick. In some places, it's much thicker. That means the deepest hole humans have ever dug didn't even make it through the outer layer of the planet. It's a bit like drilling through the skin of an apple and declaring you've explored the entire fruit. As the drill descended, scientists expected to discover certain things, and some of what they found matched their predictions, but much of it didn't. One of the biggest surprises involved temperature. Researchers expected the rock to get hotter as they went deeper. What they didn't expect was just how quickly the temperature would rise. At the deepest point, temperatures reached around 180 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt some materials and severely damage drilling equipment. The rock itself began behaving differently. Instead of remaining solid and brittle, it became more flexible under the intense heat and pressure. This made further drilling nearly impossible. Even the most advanced equipment available at the time struggled to cope. The scientists also discovered something unexpected involving water. For years, many experts believed water couldn't exist at such depths within the crust. Yet they found evidence of water trapped deep inside the rock. Not underground lakes or rivers, but water contained within microscopic fractures and minerals. The immense pressure prevented it from escaping. It was a surprising discovery that changed how scientists thought about deep geological processes. Another unexpected finding involved fossils. That might sound strange. After all, who expects fossils more than 6 kilometers underground? Yet researchers found microscopic fossil remains of ancient marine organisms embedded within the rock. These tiny fossils had survived for hundreds of millions of years, long before humans existed, and long before dinosaurs appeared. The discovery provided valuable clues about Earth's ancient history and how continents had changed over time. Of course, no story about the Kola Superdeep Borehole would be complete without mentioning one of the strangest rumours ever associated with a scientific project. You may have heard it before. The story claimed that scientists lowered microphones into the borehole and recorded the screams of people trapped in hell. According to the rumour, terrifying sounds echoed from deep within the earth. Newspapers printed sensational headlines. The story spread around the world. There was just one problem. It wasn't true. The entire story was fabricated. No such recording was ever made. No scientists reported hearing anything unusual. The rumour likely began as a piece of religious folklore before being amplified by tabloids and early media reports. But even today, many people still believe it happened. Eventually, the project came to an end. Funding became more difficult after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The technical challenges were becoming overwhelming, and temperatures deep underground made further progress almost impossible. The drilling stopped. The borehole was sealed, and the site gradually fell into disuse. Today, little remains of the once ambitious project. What was once one of humanity's greatest scientific efforts is now largely abandoned. Yet its legacy remains. The Kola Superdeep Borehole taught scientists an important lesson. The Earth is far more complex than we often assume. Even when we think we understand what's beneath us, nature has a habit of surprising us. And perhaps the most remarkable thing about the project is what it reveals about our limitations. We often think of humanity as having conquered the planet. We've crossed oceans, climbed mountains, we've walked on the moon. Yet the deepest hole we've ever drilled reaches only a tiny fraction into the Earth. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about some parts of our own planet. Think about that for a moment. Beneath your feet lies an enormous world of rock, heat, pressure, and mystery. A world we can barely access. A world that still holds countless secrets. The deepest hole humans have ever dug didn't answer every question. If anything, it raised even more. And perhaps that's what makes it so fascinating. The borehole wasn't just a hole in the ground. It was a reminder of how much remains unknown. A reminder that even on our own planet, there are still frontiers waiting to be explored. So the next time you look down at the ground beneath your feet, remember this. Humanity's deepest journey into the Earth reached just 12 kilometers. A remarkable achievement. Yet, compared to the size of the planet, it was barely the first step. And somewhere beneath us, far deeper than any drill has ever reached, the mysteries of the Earth continue to wait. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to Curious Earth for more fascinating stories about science, history, nature, and the incredible world around us. Until next time, stay curious.